journey was my parents provided a really biblical household, a Christian worldview household. We went to church, took me to church all the time. When I was like, I think 7 years old, I walked the aisle. That was my tradition, to walk the aisle, tell the pastor I wanted to join the church, and he signed me up, and I was dunked about a week later. No one really explained to me what it really meant to have a relationship with Jesus. Now, I had a biblical worldview, but I didn't have a personal relationship with Jesus.
Mm.
Well, I had some friends in high school. They went to a little bit larger church from where I was going. And there's this guy named Freddie Gage. He was from Texas, and he had this ministry called Pulpit in the Shadows. He ministered to drug addicts and prostitutes, and the what society would call the scum of society, and he shared the gospel with them. But he also was an evangelist, and he would go from church to church, and they'd have these meetings. I went to one, and something clicked that night. I really understood what everything meant to have a relationship with Jesus. I gave my heart to Christ. I was baptized a little bit later, and that was just really a huge turning point for me. I was a junior in high school, then went to college, went to Georgia Tech, and that was very, very hard first year. I was pretty smart, but I hadn't played in my senior year, and I didn't know how to study, so it was just really, really tough. But a little later, a few years into that journey, I joined a Christian fraternity. That's an oxymoron.
Hmm.
It was a fraternity that was dying, that the Baptist Student Union took over. And I joined that fraternity, just really began to grow, took on leadership responsibilities. And my next to the last quarter, I lived in the house. The Theta was the fraternity. And I went on a retreat, a deacon's retreat, and I came back. I was doing some assignment that I didn't really want to do because I didn't like engineering, and even though I did okay. And there was a deep sense from God. It wasn't an audible voice, but a deep sense from God that he wanted me to go into full-time vocational ministry. Now, I realized I'd already applied to go to law school. I'd already been offered a scholarship, but there's this redirect. And from that point, I talked to my pastor. He said, Southwestern Seminary in Fort Worth, Texas would be a great place to go. Went there, met my wife in the grocery store in the green bean aisle. And she was going to seminary at the time as well. So I got an MDiv, she got an MRE, and served a church there for 3 years. And then started church in Atlanta. And since then, I've been in Oklahoma a few years. I was teaching pastor in California. In fact, I was the pastor of church in Aurora, maybe the same time you were there. And then been in Canada the past 9.5 years.
Where were you at in Aurora?
Ginger Creek Community Church on
Oh,
Butterfield.
yeah.
Yeah.
We might know some of the same people. I'll have to ask you about that offline. I know some folks over there. Wow,
that's my journey. We have been married over 40 years. We have 3 grown kids, 4 grandkids. My son's a pastor. He lives in Cleveland. One daughter she just moved out, and one daughter lives in California. So that's it in a quick nutshell.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good nutshelling right there.